Guys, listen, without wasting too much time, we're going to be talking about what led women to sleep with a known sex addict. What led women to sleep with a known sex addict? And we are talking about Russell Brand. And I have a good friend of mine, John Michelle, is here. And yeah, he's going to be sharing his thoughts when it comes to this topic. Because we've actually got something important to say about this, or an angle that a lot of people haven't explored yet. And this is what we're going to be doing today. I came across an article, John Michelle. I came across an article on The Guardian, the Guardian newspapers. It's called "The 2000s Lad Culture That Russell Brand Epitomized Wasn't Funny Then. It looks even more hideous with hindsight." And this is by Ryan and Lucy Coslet. So the 2000s lad culture that Russell Brand epitomized wasn't funny then. It looks even more hideous with hindsight. And she had some interesting things to say. And I know you've read the article already. I've read the article as well. And she's a feminist. She's a feminist. What do you think of the article?
Well, look, this is my thing is this. If you're going to talk about that culture and the idea that, because lads culture, from my understanding, didn't have anything to do with abuse or the great word. So she's redefining what that culture is, first of all, because I grew up around that time, and I don't know how lads culture is connected to allegations of abuse. So that's the first thing, because even by the statement, are you saying that lads, i.e. men, had a culture of just raping and abusing women? All men? I mean, so again, just the opening line shows a bit of misandry there, because you're equating all men with accusations of rape and abuse. So they're problematic from the beginning, I think.
That's definitely how she comes across.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't know what lads culture has got to do with, rape and if you talk about a culture of rape and abuse, you would call it rape culture or abuse culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's problematic straight away. Also, so if she wants to talk about a time where people were more promiscuous, then say that then. And if we're talking about a time where people were more open sexually, it's not just the men, it's the women, because an age-old saying, is men are gatekeepers of relationships and women are gatekeepers of sex.
That's right.
So if we're talking about promiscuous time, we can't just look at a culture where men were promiscuous without looking at women being promiscuous, because it takes, unless there is widespread rape going on, you're looking at women being much more liberal sexually.
But it's women who fought.
It's
women who fought for the right to be promiscuous, though.
Right. So then, what you saw exactly. So if women are more promiscuous, what's the result of that? Would be men would be more promiscuous. If men decided to be promiscuous and women didn't abide by it, then there'd be thousands of men going into jail, being persecuted for rape. That's what would actually happen.
Yeah.
So if we talk about a promiscuous culture, we're talking about men and women engaging in sex. And as I said, women are the gatekeepers of sex. Women ultimately submit to men, engage in sex with them. So it's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very badly worded. I don't think that she's really understands the point that she's trying to make is not associated with lads culture. If there's a legitimate argument to say that there was a culture of some men who are very famous being protected from allegations by other men and other women within the high echelons of the media. Okay, that's a different story. It had nothing to do with lads culture.
So
You know, it's reverse culture.
in a sense, what she's saying is that lads culture is the male version of the sexual revolution for females. So the lad culture is the response to the promiscuity culture that the sexual revolution built or created. So of course, if you're going to create a society where you embrace promiscuity, well, men are also going to be promiscuous. So lad culture will come out of that. But to demonize it and make it look more and try to imply that it's somehow grape. Grape is involved in it. Most, guys like to demonize women and so on and so forth. Because that's what she's doing. She's demonizing the culture, the lad culture, or the promiscuity that men are capable of. When men are on that mind state of being promiscuous, this is how they behave. What she's saying is she doesn't like how men behave when they are promiscuous. They don't like it. But yet women are allowed to kind of be promiscuous, so to speak. They should be allowed to be promiscuous, to be sexual liberated and so on and so forth. But when guys do it, somehow it's attached to abuse, it's attached to rape, it's attached to all of those type of things. I mean, me personally, I'm against the entire culture. The entire culture, I'm actually against it. But then again, I do understand the consequences of promiscuity when it's highly promoted and highly championed in society. People are going to misbehave when you allow promiscuity to, be rampant and be celebrated and so on and so forth. And that's my issue with her article. I'm just going to read some of the things that she actually said on this article. And guys, please do go and read this article for yourself. She's a self-proclaimed feminist. She's not denying any of that. But what she says, it's just pure feminist propaganda. She goes, while it's useful to hear from those who are working in the institution and environment in which Brand thrived, I also feel angry at the complicity of some of them. While Brand denies all the allegations made in the program, insisting that all his relationships have been consensual, clips from his own stand-up TV and radio routines show his outspoken misogyny. In all these places, there were journalists and TV executives who facilitated, encouraged, and failed to challenge these all-pervasive attitudes towards women. And there were those who contributed to the culture more broadly at this truly heinous crime. From the men working on lads mags and telling rape jokes on stage to the post-feminist women's magazine journalists who seem to have forgotten the concept of sisterhood. What do you make of Russell Brand? I mean, the guy was so open about it. He was saying it on TV. Like she said there, the journalists were there, everyone was there, everyone was celebrating, everyone was laughing at his jokes, and now his jokes are somehow bad.
Look, this is deeper than just the jokes. Now, I made the statement that, when discussing this with somewhere else, I made the statement that by his own admission, Russell Brand was a sex addicted, drug addicted, alcohol addicted, basically maniac.
Yeah.
A complete hedonist. This is what he says. This is what we can see about his lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
There's reports of him having sex with 4 or 5 women a day. Obviously, he had to go to rehab for his drug addiction. On top of that, we got to look at the old culture of celebrity. So the ego would have factored in there. He was continuously being booked and presenting shows. His behavior was being, people acknowledged that he was behaving badly, and he was being rewarded for it sometimes. They were literally kind of managing his behavior by giving rules to people around him. Don't let him do this, don't let him do that. There's there's a quote from his PA talking about how he would get them to pull women out of the audience. These were women, other women, by the way, would be pulling women out of the audience for him when this was literally in his contract for him not to do so. So this is definitely, there's some complicity there where they were complicit in his bad behavior.
Yeah.
But because he was a cash cow, they ignored it. And this is something that you'll see in a lot of these type of cases where they're fully aware of the person's bad behavior. Now, I believe someone that is under that kind of, as I said, addicted to all devices and being under the, and having that celebrity entitlement lifestyle, the debauched lifestyle, he may have committed some heinous acts. He may have done so. My issue is this: if he did, they knew about it then.
Yeah.
The people that were employing him would have been very aware of any allegations that had come forward. They would have covered it up. You know, they would have probably paid people off.
Yeah.
So for me, it's timing. See, we spoke earlier on, and I said that in a lot of these kind of very elite type of clubs or places where there's a lot of money to be made. You have someone that's at the forefront, but you have people in a kind of a cabal of where, you know, if for example, Jeffrey Epstein, his job was to get intel on famous people, hold on to that intel, and then if they go off script, if they start to expose people or even to kind of rebel against the status quo, as it were,
yeah,
they would be exposed.